Salute and welcome to the Stories and Cocktails podcast, where you'll enjoy an entertaining short story from acclaimed humor columnist Rob Kreider. Storytime is the family portion of the show. Then we move on from the stories to the cocktails. This is where the alcohol and the not safe for work portion of the show takes over, as Rob and his wife /editor /muse Sara Kreider partake in some adult beverages and provide you with a behind the scenes recap of what really inspired the original story. Put your feet up, relax, and enjoy yourself a round of stories and cocktails. Cheers.
This story is called God of Speed by Rob Kreider. Hey, that's me. There is absolutely nothing in the world that gives me greater joy than go-karts. I love the squealing of the little tires, the feeling of wind in my face, and that sound of my front bumper smashing into an unsuspecting competitor's car. It just doesn't get any better than that. It's pure childhood pleasure. Since I love go-karts so much, any opportunity I have to take my kids to a go-kart track for some good, clean, all-American fun, we are there. I've taken my kids to nearly every go-kart track in California, and shamefully, due to some rough driving, I have been thrown out of most of them. Supposedly, go-karting is a non-contact sport, but I have proven over and over and over again, damaging many a go-kart, that there is plenty of contact when I'm involved. I've also proven that I'm a pretty fast driver, winning races at plenty of tracks. Sure, most of my competitors were 8-year-old kids, but regardless of that little insignificant detail, I won those races fair and square. Yes, those tears streaming down the faces of some 8-year-old boys may disagree with my interpretation of what's fair and square. I'll admit, there may have been some rubbing, or some bumping, or you could say, smashing. I don't dispute those allegations. Go-karting is real racing. There are no trophies for second place. My win-at-all-costs go-karting policy has occasionally affected my own children. Bless their little souls. I do understand that, as a father, playing games with a child, it is oftentimes the case where the dad will lose on purpose to build up a feeling of success for a child and boost a kid's self-esteem. That's good parenting 101. Raising 2 children, I have done this sort of thing thousands of times with games like checkers, tag, or baseball. But at the go-kart track, yeah, that's not going to happen. This is a race, not a preschool lesson. Recently, I had the opportunity to either do the right thing at the go-kart track or win the race. We were in Anaheim, and I decided it would be fun to go to the local K1 Speed. Yes, I know, when you're in Anaheim with your kids, you should probably take them to Disneyland and see Mickey Mouse. I like Mickey Mouse as much as the next guy, but let's be honest, go-karts trump teacups any day of the week. Because no matter how long you're on that ride, those teacups never crash into each other. While we were at K1 Speed, I tried to impart as much racing wisdom as possible to my children. The pedal on the right is the gas pedal. Mash that one to the floor. Now, there's another pedal on the left. I've heard people refer to it as a brake pedal, but you don't need that. If you want to slow down, just use the rear bumper of the car in front of you. Oh, and one more thing. Your last name is Kreider, so don't forget to win. Any questions? At the front desk, I told the employees at K1 Speed I wanted my whole family, the 4 of us, to get a session to race. My wife, whom I love, immediately backed out. She said, "I'm not going on the track with you. You're a menace to society in a go-kart. Will K1 Speed even let you race here? I thought you were kicked out of all the K1 Speeds." I quickly hushed my wife. Honey, shh. That was a San Diego K1 Speed. I smiled at the girl on the counter and told my wife, "These good people have never met me before." Before we could race, we had to register our personal information on a computer. Because I was worried that K1 Speed locations may share information about unsavory customers, I registered a race under an alias. The name? God of Speed. For our session on the track, it would be God of Speed, my son, my daughter, and 2 unsuspecting teenage boys who looked a little too cocky, in my opinion. I strapped on my helmet and waited for the green flag. My wife stood on the side of the track and gave me a look of, "Please don't embarrass us today." I flipped down my visor and ignored her. It was race time. The flag dropped, and instantly the red mist of racing filled my brain with adrenaline. All rational thought was gone. I was no longer a father. I was just a machine, hell-bent on winning. I started ripping through the course, learning the unfamiliar track, finding my lines, and reeling in my competition. The first one I found was my daughter. I came up on her fast, and she hit her brakes way too early for the turn. I told her not to do that, and my front bumper drilled her in the side with a horrendous noise. Her go-kart spun violently out of the way and then crashed into a wall. Her body looked like a rag doll. Obviously, it upset me that I crashed into my daughter. Hitting her slowed me down considerably, which ruined my lap time. After the impact, she was backwards on the track, So the K1 Speed employees had to come out and turn her around by hand to get her going again. They asked her if she was okay, and she said, yes, that was my own father who did that to me. Regardless of the opinion of my wife, family politics, or good parenting, I, more importantly, still had a race to win. I drove by the part of the track where I could see my wife on the side, standing and watching and judging. For obvious reasons, she didn't look very happy with me. Who could blame her? I had just smashed her youngest child into a wall. I mean, come on, it wasn't like I flipped our daughter upside down onto her head. I knew our little girl would live. Since I knew I was already in trouble with the missus, I figured I might as well win that race. I continued racing on, possessed, and raced the little go-kart as hard as possible, passing the now shamed teenage boys, bumping past my own son quite roughly, and then came across the finish line in first place. As I crossed the line, I saw my name, God of Speed, listed on the top of the video screen as the winner. I put my arms up in a V for victory. By the way, after the race and my bad behavior, K1 Speed did give me a small trophy. While we were driving home, my wife tossed it out the window. I might be a bad dad, but at least I care about the environment. My wife is a litterer.
Okay, folks, it's time to pop that top and let's get to those cocktails.
Hey, welcome to Stories and Cocktails, the drunken portion of the show. We're coming to you live on tape from RV Tiki in Napa, California, one of our favorite places to camp. We got family up here. We have a good time. And what's my good time girl drinking right there? What you got?
Well, that was a good intro.
Thank you. Well, I've done the show a couple times before.
Yeah, no.
I was a DJ in college, you know.
That was smooth. You caught me off guard. I'm not as smooth.
I know. I was knocking your panties right off of you.
So what I'm drinking is a Michelob Ultra.
Oh, I thought that was called a Mick Ultra.
In some circles, yeah.
So cool kids call it a Mick Ultra.
Cool kids call it Mick Ultra. Yeah, we
or
found that out.
would some people say actually douchebags call it Mick Ultra? Where is it like? 'Cause some things are cool and some things are douchey, and that line is very fine, right? How they cross over.
When I heard it, it was a pretty cool dude. It was when I first heard Mick Ultra, it was coming out of the mouth of, I don't know, like maybe a 72-year-old, and he was the tour guide on the St. Louis Budweiser Factory Brewery. Boy, words are hard when you've been drinking. He was the tour guide at the brewery, the factory.
Well, I mean, you were there. You got the full tour. It seems like you didn't learn.
Anheuser-Busch Brewery.
They didn't teach you a darn thing about the place. Every time you refer to it, you have no idea what it's
I never
called.
know what it's called.
Yeah.
What is it? What's its official name?
The Anheuser-Busch Brewery.
Oh, yeah. That just
St.
rolled
Louis,
right
Missouri.
Off. That rolled right off your fucking tongue, dude.
Well, I was paying attention. See, I've always been a better student than you. I was like, this is a tour. I'm here to learn about hops and, they call it beach aged, all that stuff. I was like, oh, yeah. And then you're like, what the fuck is this? We're at the factory? I'm like,
yeah.
It's a brewery.
No, the whole time I was just like, can I have the beer? Can I have the beer now? Can I have the beer now? And then finally we got to the point where he's like, you can have the beer. And he's like, here's your Mick Ultra. And I was like, oh,
That's cool.
That's cool.
We learned something cool and new.
That's cool.
Called Mick Ultra.
Yeah, I'm like, my husband's going to call you a douchebag. I don't think you are. I think you're so fucking cool, dude. You were an awesome tour
guide.
guide.
He was not a douchebag. He was a super cool guy. I'm saying that the term Mick Ultra could be adopted by douchebags.
Well, are we going to adopt it?
I think we already have.
Well, then there's your answer.
So it's super douchey.
It's super, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry to Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch and my tour guide, whose name I don't remember.
His name was Tom.
We just made a douchey.
Tom, the tour guide.
Tom, the tour guide?
Yeah.
He was great.
If you're going to go to a brewery and have a guy give you like a tour and then give you a few little cups of Mick Ultra, we got some fresh Budweiser, like original banquet,
Yeah.
And like,
Oh, did you just say original banquet?
oh, is that a Coors reference?
That's a Coors reference.
Oh, man.
I thought you were the one paying attention.
Bud was the king of beers. There's something about banquet in there. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. I
No,
don't
it's
know.
Coors. It's Coors
Oh,
banquet.
boy. I guess I didn't win this trivia night at this particular
You did
brewery
not.
tour.
You did not. You were all high and mighty over there, like, oh, I'm the better student.
I just
always
crushed
pay
this
attention."
intro.
And then you're just a Coors Bud banquet. What are you?
Oh,
talking
shit. I know
about?
why I don't know the difference.
You don't give a shit.
Because they're the fucking same to me, baby. This guy drinks hard alcohol or IPAs. He doesn't fuck with his junior varsity shit. So whether it's Beechwood aged or it's original banquet or it all sounds like you're buying a truck when you're getting a fucking advertisement for a cold beer, I don't care.
That's
I'm a little bit being a bit of a beer snob. I think.
yeah. No, that I'm sitting over here like just this is what I do to beer snobs. I just sort of ignore them. I just go, Hey, quick change of subject here.
Go for it.
What's the story?
The story today is called God of Speed, published January 28th, 2015, published in the Santa Maria Sun. This is one of my favorite stories. So if you go to robcarter.com, I have like my 5 favorite stories. It's one of my 5 favorites. When I read it tonight, you said, really? It's one of your 5 favorites, huh?
Yeah,
Go-karting?
no. Okay.
And I was like, well, yeah, man, it's about racing.
Yeah. What was the story again?
God of Speed.
God, okay, yeah.
So I'm racing go-karts with the kids.
right.
I'm roughing, housing them up a bit. I actually crashed our daughter pretty violently. Her body was like a rag doll in the car.
You read it. So what we do is one of us will read the story and the other one listens, and then
Usually the one's like
we talk about
whoever's
it.
listening is usually making cocktails. So you made me a Sailor Jerry and Diet Pepsi. Thank you very much.
Got
and
it.
you got yourself a Mick Ultra.
Yes.
So you're like bartendress
right.
extraordinaire, and I'm like narrator extraordinaire.
So tonight you were reading the story, and I was supposed to be listening while I was making the cocktails. Well, I made the cocktails, but small admission, I wasn't listening to any of it. You said, "Hey, babe, tonight let's do the story called God of Speed." And as soon as you said God of Speed, I just turned my ears off. I turned my brain off. I'm just like, I'm gonna make these cocktails. He's going to be wah, wah, wah. And I was so fast. And then I was fast some more. And I like cars. Wah, wah, wah. I really, 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 really like cars. So that's what you were reading in the background. You're just like,
no, but you're wrong.
I really, really, really like driving cars.
You have every right to think that about a lot of the articles I've written that are car related. You're like, don't care about those.
Yeah, no, I didn't give a shit about this
You want
one.
to hear about the family stories.
So I didn't listen to this one.
But this was a family story.
So
Because
then
this isn't about real racing. This is about just going to the go-kart track with your kids and then acting like a dick dad by crashing your own kids and other 8-year-olds so you can win a go-kart race at a mini putt-putt golf course. So
Okay.
what's wrong with me as a person that
So
I'm getting some sort of sick victory out of beating children?
I'm glad I didn't listen. I'm glad I thought that it was about racing and I didn't listen, and that I didn't I'm glad you didn't interrupt me and say like, "Hey, you need to listen to this one because it's about family." I'm glad I didn't listen because it's about family, but it's about race. It's about you being a horrible person.
Yeah, well, no, it's shameful.
I'm glad I didn't listen.
It's shameful behavior for a father. But I do say in the story that
But
when I'm working with my kids,
you're not just any father. You're the father of my children. So I
I'm
don't
also a
wanna hear,
goddamn national champion. So
Oh.
I'm not going to give up a go-kart race
This is
just
why I
to
didn't
make
listen.
a kid feel better about themselves.
This is why I didn't listen.
I let them win in checkers.
So when you said this is one of my top 5s, I was like, wait, what? What?
Yeah.
Was I supposed to be listening?
Me documenting for the world that I'm a crappy dad. How did this make the top 5? That is an odd thing to say, but I think it's just being transparent and honest. Like, I really wanted to be a good dad, and I think I was a good dad. But when I went to the go-kart track, fuck that. I wasn't a good dad. I was a race car driver again.
This is why I didn't listen.
Beating children.
I'm still not listening. It's just too awful.
Full disclosure, when I go to the go-kart track with adults, I lose. I only win with the children. So I like to race with the kids more. You know what I'm saying?
So what's funny is that you picked this story, and it's like you forget where you're at right now. You are currently residing in the doghouse. Do you not know this?
Yeah, well, that's true. That is true.
You're
this probably
living-
was poor choice
It's
tonight.
fucking cold outside. It's wintertime, and you're living in the doghouse. Like, I would think you would be anxious to get out of the cold and get out of the doghouse and come back into the real house. So when I say pick a story, the fact that you're out in the doghouse, I don't know what you're using your little like doghouse flashlight to like light up the stream of stories that you're looking at, and the one you're like, oh, God of Speed. Oh, I'm a race car driver and I'm a dick to our children. Oh yeah, this is the one. This is the one that's gonna get me out of the fucking doghouse.
Top 5.
And that's the one you chose to read. Like I'm
Yeah.
bewildered right now.
Well, poor choice on my part for a couple of reasons that listeners don't understand. One, we're in our RV, which is our RV that we live in and party in. But occasionally when you're not paying attention, I shove a lot of race car driver crew members in here, and you don't like that. And you've said specifically, please don't put grown-ass men in the motorhome anymore.
Yeah,
Let them piss all over my toilet seat
I did.
so you can race your car. And I said, okay, I won't do that anymore.
I said I'm at an age now. I'm done sharing this very, very, very small space with other grown-ass men and adults. Like, I'm done. Like, I will share
Grown-ass
it with
men
you.
who have greasy fingerprints and
But I don't
definitely
even-
piss on the toilet
I
seat.
don't even want to share this space with our kids anymore. Like, it's too small of a space to share with other adults.
So
Other
I'm a bad dad
adults
and you're a bad mom.
should not be listening to other adults breathe while they sleep or smelling other adults' farts. Like, no. Like, we need walls around us for a reason.
Now, you have
So-
every right to say that because it's not like you just said, hey, I don't want these guys around. There was this particular incident where one of the crew members, who will not be named,
And I'm not saying I don't want them around. I'm saying I don't want to share a sleeping space with them. Like, it's a small space. They can be outside the RV, and I'll hang out with them. I will even bring them snacks from inside the RV to outside the RV and give them said snacks. But yeah, I don't want to. When it's time to go to bed, there's no reason for 8 adults to share a 90 square foot space, unless like we're all in jail or something.
Right. Well, you have every right to do that. And the
Yes.
reason is because one particular race we were at, and you and I were in bed sleeping. We had a bunch of dudes in here, and it was a 24-hour lemons race at Sonoma.
Okay, but
And-
before you go on, and I do want to hear this, like, but you're like, the reason is, this is the one reason. No, like, there's a million reasons. What you're about to say is so beyond the reason. It's like, there's the reason I don't want to share a sleeping space with that many fucking grown-ass men and adults. And then you're going to go about 2 miles beyond that and then say, and furthermore. So go on, but I need you to start it with, and furthermore.
And furthermore, the reason I'm referring to this particular story is because I brought this gentleman back last night to the motorhome, which
Okay.
you specifically forbade.
But what crime did he originally commit?
It was a crime.
What was his
Actually, you
original
could be
sin?
arrested for this. The original sin was he drank a lot of Sailor Jerry Spice rum. We were partying very late. We were doing very well in the race. It was nighttime. They weren't racing at night. We were going to wake up in the morning and kill it. We were in second place. I was listening for the rain because if it started raining, I was going to think about a totally different car setup, tire setup. Like, I was concerned about it. So instead of sleeping, I was overthinking the race. Then I hear,
That's really unlike you.
then I hear water, right? I'm like, I fucking knew it, man. It's raining. We got to change it all. Sway bar's coming off. We're blowing the tire
Change the
pressure. We
tires.
got to put rain tires on.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, wait a second. Like, it's really fucking raining. And like, I think the RV's leaking. So now I got bigger problems. Like, I got to not only have to change the race car setup, I got to fix a leak in the fucking RV. Then I realized the sound of the rain is really close by.
It's really concentrated.
Yeah. So then I sit up in my bed and I see a grown-ass man who will not be named. And he has his penis out. And he's urinating on the floor right at the end of our bed.
It wasn't on the floor. It was
Well,
on the corner of our bed.
And the floor. I mean, I heard it hit the floor. I didn't really hear it hit the, as it was dripping down. I didn't really hear it hit the bed. I was
It
hearing
hit the bed.
Yeah, okay.
It hit the bed.
Fair enough.
Because it was
Mere
my,
inches from your leg.
It was my foot. My foot was like, why is our bed wet?
So then you said, well, I asked the guy, I said, hey, dude, are you taking a piss on my motorhome right now? And he was so drunk, he just looked at me and he said, apparently.
Yes,
I
and it
was
was
like-
very apparent
It
to,
was
to my
apparent.
wet
So
foot, to my
You-
eyes.
I was like,
It was very
oh, man,
apparent
that's
that he
not
was
good.
pissing in our motorhome on my bed.
Then you said, what's going on? And I said, nothing. You just go to bed. I'll take care of it. So I got up. I got on piss mop duty, cleaned all up. We went along.
I
And,
think-
we finished first in the A class next day. by the
I
way.
think I said, what's going on? And you said nothing. And you thought that I just
Yeah,
went back to
That's
sleep.
true. I thought I got away with this. I'm like, don't worry about nothing.
But
And I thought you went back to sleep and I just cleaned it.
what I really did is I laid back down and I was like, oh, Sarah, I'll tell you what's going on. What's going on is probably the end of your marriage. Like, literally a grown-ass man who's sharing this very small sleeping space with you just pissed on the edge of your bed. Your husband is telling you to shush and not think about it because he's too worried about if he needs to change the tires on his little fucking race car tomorrow. And I just laid there and I just thought about that. And then I was like, let me also count how many other men are in this RV right now that might piss on the edge of our bed. Like, there's, I don't know, 4 more because one has to change the tires and one has to change the wipers and one has to, I don't know, check the weather and see if it's raining. And they're all so goddamn important.
So where this got triggering was we resolved that. Okay. That happened. And I said, okay, this particular gentleman will never be allowed ever, 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 ever in our RV again.
No,
And you said, great.
I didn't hold anything against him. Like, I guess this is where our wires got crossed, where you're just like, this gentleman will never be allowed in our RV anymore. I'm like, no, only you. There's one gentleman who's allowed in the RV, and that's you, because your name is on the goddamn title. That's it. No other gentlemen need to come in our RV.
Fair enough, but if
Ever.
we had to like
But you're
take
just
care of
like-
somebody, it would be better if it was any other gentleman except for the gentleman who peed at the
You're
end
just
of the
like,
bed.
got it. I'll never bring him in again. No, none. Like the thing about the great thing about when this happened is it didn't bother me that much because I couldn't smell the smell of piss. The smell of grease and cigarette smokes and sweaty, just
Oh, my driving suit.
unshowered men. It was so strong that it overpowered the smell of piss. So I couldn't even really register that my foot had been pissed on in its own bed because I couldn't register the smell. And because the smell, and I couldn't even really like focus on the sound of the piss hitting my foot because there were so many other dudes in our motorhome snoring. So
Those dudes are great crew members, and thank you for their sacrifice. We did win a trophy.
when you're like, got it, I won't ever bring him. I'm just like, you're not understanding
I'm very black and white. I'm like, so this guy right here on the police line with his dick
the
out?
difference between
got it, honey.
plural and singular.
Even if I misunderstood it, I did, though, swear a blood oath to you. This motherfucker will never be back in your motorhome. Then, Q2, 10 years later, we are having a 10th anniversary documentary film party. Basically, we made a documentary film called Double Down. We decided to play it in a parking lot on a big screen. We invited all the race crew to come. We fed them a bunch of Sailor Jerry, a bunch of beer. We drank in a parking lot like high school kids. It was a fire. You left because you're like, yeah, this is not.
The mistake
for
I
me.
made was I never should have gone in the first place.
You've seen the movie.
like you left. It's implied that I was there.
You were there because you were a great host. You had your mobile
And
bar
I
there.
never should have.
You were
been there.
making drinks. We made a very special drink called the Reese's, which was peanut butter whiskey and the chocolate Bailey's mix. Super good.
Yeah.
You were sipping it. You liked it so much.
Yeah.
So we drank a lot of those. A gentleman that we won't name, same guy who peed in your bed, he fell in the fire.
Yep.
So at the end of the night, things got crazy, and then everybody was gone. So I was left in the parking lot to clean up all the stuff. So I'm cleaning up, movie screens and projectors and bars and stuff, and then I end up with this guy. Like everybody has left, and this guy is with me, and he's a crew member. So I'm not going to leave him in the elements. So I decide I need to get him somewhere safe. And I only had one safe place nearby, this parking lot, and where it was is the RV that you were sleeping in. So he and I, we walk across town. He falls about 17 times. He loses his keys, loses his cell phone. I buy a street bacon wrap hot dogs at one point. Thank goodness. Kept me alive. I bring him to our motorhome, which I swore never to do to you. Bleeding. I put him to bed. He bleeds all over the other bed. I don't put him in bed with you, FYI. And just so you know, I did take him pee like a dog before I brought him in. Like, dude, you got to empty your bladder. Remember what happened last time? Can't have that again. He's like, yeah. I'm like, no, shake it, man. Keep going. You're not done yet. It was like taking my own dog out. Like, now you go pee. So I bring him in, put him down. He wakes up at the crack of dawn, decides he's in a place he doesn't recognize. He's blackout drunk. He wants to get out. He's not very familiar with the sensitivity of RV doors.
So, okay,
and
wait.
he breaks the fucking door.
So let's go backwards.
Okay.
Earlier at the party that I probably should have never even gone to, I was like, oh, this is so cold. This is so lame. What am I doing here? And then like I was just also chatting to people. Those were like my inner thoughts. And then I was also chatting to people. So I asked him, what are your plans for the evening? And he's like, oh, I'm staying at our buddy's house. And I was, oh, okay, good. You have a place to stay. You're not coming home with us.
Great.
You're staying at our buddy's house. So then I said, isn't our buddy out of town? And he's like, yeah, that's why I'm staying at his house. And he keeps his key under the mat. Okay. So now I know where you're staying and I know how to get into said location. the key is under the mat. So later, I'm texting you because I'm like, hey, I bailed because your party sucked and it was cold, and you keep falling. And
I would like to interject here. That party was a total success. It was super fun. If you like cars and beer, it was a great party.
Oh, I guess that's why I didn't like it.
Yeah, no shit.
I like beer. I just didn't like.
You didn't like the beers we had.
I didn't like car. Well, you didn't have beers, plural. You had beer.
Yeah,
You had
beer.
one flavor. So
One flavor of IPA.
So you're like all week. You're just like, I want to have this party. I want to have this party. I want to have this party. I'm just like, that sounds lame. I don't want to do it. It's your thing. I'm just like, do whatever. Just do what you want. I'm not going to get involved.
All I wanted was what I got. I wanted to stand in a parking lot like it was high school, drinking alcohol and watching my documentary film.
So it was all fine and dandy, and I was so uninvolved. I was just like, you tell me what time to be there and I might come. This is your thing. And so you were asking me stuff. I'm like, I don't care. It's your thing. It's your thing. But then we get there and you go, I hope no one fucking shows up early. Like I've got too much to do. I'm too stressed out. Like I hope no one shows up early. I'm just like, again, I'm like, I don't give a shit. This is your thing. I don't care.
You were like,
when
none,
people
yeah.
come.
None of my
None
problem.
of my business. Yeah. You're like, can you help me? I'm like, no, I can't. I'm not. So I'm completely uninvolved. And then you're so busy getting the screen ready and getting the movie like ready. People start showing up and they show up a little bit early. And this is not my party. I don't give a shit. But you're ignoring everyone. You're just like, I told you guys the party started at 8. I will not acknowledge your existence until 8.
Well, the popcorn's still cooking and I'm still getting the screen up. So you shouldn't fucking be here at 7.
So then they're looking at me and they're just like, hey, Sarah, how's it going? Like, what do you have to drink here? And I'm like, fuck. So now I feel like I have to host. You know what I mean? Like,
well, you're the hostess with the mostest.
I tell you all week, I don't give a fuck about this party. But now people are right in front of my face and they're like, what do you have to drink? And so,
and are we sleeping in your RV?
And so I look at the ice chest. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm trying to piece things together. I'm like, I don't know. What is there to drink? I'm going to start just hosting this shit, I guess. And I open the ice chest. I'm like, we have beers. We have beer. We have one flavor of, I hope you like IPAs. Because
it's going to be an IPA party.
Yeah, one flavor of beer. They're like, are you sure? I'm like, I hope not. I fucking hope that I'm not sure that there's only IPAs because I don't drink IPAs. I'm like, surely my husband would have thought of me.
You said you might not come, so I didn't really think to give you anything.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Because I've also been trying this, like, forced labor on you. I'm like, if I just only present a double nickel 9 IPA from Tactical Ops, you'll just have to drink it eventually. You'll get, because you like to get drunk. So I'm like, eventually you'll just break
labor?
down.
That's forced, like.
I'm like forcing this labor of love of this IPA onto
Oh.
you. So I'm like, I'm just gonna absolutely put you on a desert island where all there is double IPA, and you're just like, no.
I thought it was like forced labor where you're just like, fine, if you don't want to help me with my party, I will just buy all of the IPAs and not have any other beer to offer anyone, including you.
Well, I think your attitude was like, well, asshole, you know how to throw a fucking race. You can throw yourself a little race movie party. So I'm like, well, honey, guess I'm gonna. And guess what? Only IPA is gonna be served. So you get what you wish for.
I was serving like a really important role where I was just like, you know, it gets cold at, or you know, it gets dark at 5, right? And you're like, wait, what? 5? It gets dark at 5. I'm like, it's December, like late December. Yeah, it gets dark at 5. That doesn't sound right. And then I served another great role where it was like, it's gonna be cold, babe. It's gonna be cold. And you're like, it's not gonna get cold until the sun goes down. Well, that's gonna be a 5, and you are starting this party at 8. So,
well, I think you had the last laugh as you saw me trying to put the screen together with a cell phone light because I had no fucking lights out there to even set everything up because I got there when it was dark.
You even said to me, so you're starting the party at 8. And now you realize, like, okay, 8 o'clock, it'll be dark. That's when the party starts. But we've had a whole conversation about when it gets dark. And then I say, hey, what are the plans tonight? Like, what time do you want to roll over there? And you said, I want to get there at about 6:30, so I have an hour and a half to get everything ready. And I was proud of you. I was like, oh, that's good time math and time management because time is sort of your weakness. I'm like, you're giving yourself an hour and a half to get ready. And then It's like 6 o'clock and we're getting ready to go. And you look out the window and you're like, oh shit, it's dark already.
Yeah, I was going to set up in the daytime.
Yeah, I can't get all this stuff ready in the dark. Like, oh my God. Okay. Sorry.
Didn't go well.
All right. So, anyways, you're bad with time. You're bad with knowing when it gets dark. Now your friends are there. You only bought one beer. Like, we've really gone over how much you fucked this up.
Yeah, but I think everybody was
And
there at a good time.
I left. I came back. So then there's a series of texts. That's what it was. I'm still texting you because I want to make sure you get home safely.
Because I think deep down you do love me.
I do.
You do. You were going to stick around and make sure I was safe, but you went home, laid in the warm RV, and then worried about my safety.
Right.
Like, you weren't going to facilitate said safety,
No.
but you would worry about it.
I would definitely worry
That's
about it.
a good wife.
And if I felt like after a few hours had gone by, if I hadn't heard from you or you hadn't checked in, I may have, I don't know, called like an authority or something like that. So you're right. You're right.
We figured the cops were coming any minute. That's why we packed it up. So yeah, I had to drag back this dude.
Okay, so I'm checking in with you. I'm like, how's it going? And you're like, we are cleaning up. And I'm like, you and who? And you're like,
me and the man who won't be named.
Right. And I'm like, okay. So then I'm like, hey, remember, you're dropping him off at your buddy's house. And so then this is where the texts just go bad. Because then you text me like, nah. I'm like, nah, what? No.
It's capital N-A-H.
And that was okay. And that was the last word that was spelled correctly in these particular.
It's not even a word.
Text. So I'm like, no. I'm like, you need to drop him off at your buddy's house, and then you just start texting me back a series of we're walking, but it's not we're walking. It's like I get a text like walking. I'm like, no, you're not. Uber. Get an Uber. And then I get the next text like, we're walling. No, you're not walking. You're not walling. You are not coming here. Get in an Uber. Take him to your buddy's house.
It was probably only a mile away. We walked 3 miles because we were sideways, just literally back and forth. So
but the entire texting to me, we're acting, we're walling, we're alling, we're waking.
I know you wanted me to take him to my buddy's house. My buddy moved. I didn't know where he lived. This guy didn't know where he lived.
I was telling you.
This guy lost his phone, his keys, his wallet.
I was telling you.
I didn't even know how to get an Uber because I was just so sideways drunk. I'm like, I know if I walk this direction long enough, I'll run into a fence, and that's going to be where my RV is, behind that fence. So I did successfully navigate us here. He was bleeding quite a bit.
So you guys
because he fell a lot. I'm not very good at carrying people.
You guys came in here, and I was fuming.
Yeah, you should be. Because not only did we come in here, I brought in the dude who literally pissed on you last time we slept together.
And you made so much noise, and I'm just hearing you guys fall, and you're just like, here's a pillow. I'm like, no, don't give him a pillow. And I don't even know you're bleeding at this point. Then you stumble back to our bed, and you're just like, I put him out there on the couch, and we're back safely. And you're like heroic. I got us back safely. I'm like, I didn't want either one of you.
Dude, I feel like I crossed a glacier. Like what I accomplished, I was so blind drunk. The fact that I got 2 grown-ass men home and pissed one outside before I brought him in here was a huge accomplishment.
At one point, I'm like finding your iPhone. So I'm looking at where you are, and I'm looking at where I am, and I'm pulling up the map, and I'm looking at hotels that are in between us, and I'm looking for vacancies. And it's like 2:00 in the morning. So every hotel is just like, you can't check in yesterday. It's 2. I'm like, no, I need to check in tonight, this night. And they're just like,
super early check in, like 2 a.m.
Yeah, they were like, that's tomorrow night. I'm like, hotels, why don't you work for a 2 a.m. check-in? Like, people might want to check in between 3 p.m. and 11 a.m. Like,
you never know.
Fuck you. Yeah, we might be just walking down the street. This could save a marriage. So I couldn't book you a hotel.
No hotel would even take us because we were out of our minds. Only people who would do business with us. The bacon wrap hot dog guy. They would do business with me at 2 a.m. So then he wakes up in the morning, breaks the RV door. There's just broken plastic everywhere.
So I laid in bed. So you came in and you stumble back and you're like, we're both bleeding. And I'm like, why are you bleeding? Oh, because we fell so much. So then you went right to sleep. And then I laid there.
Like a truck.
I laid there awake. And I was just... I had a couple of different feelings. So first it was just like, this motherfucker, I told him, never again, do not bring any other fucking grown-ass adults into this RV for me, just like never again. So I had like so much anger. But then I had like, oh my God, like tomorrow I'm going to want to get up. I'm going to want to make some coffee. I'm going to want like privacy. I'm going to want like to stretch out on the couch. I got a guy sleep in there. Like now.
And bleeding on it.
What am I going to fucking do? And then what's this bleeding about? So I was just stuck in between these, like, I hate my husband. And then what's going to happen when I wake up? I'm going to kind of be uncomfortable because I want to make some coffee. And there's a guy out there. So I didn't go back to sleep.
Oh, you poor thing.
So when he woke up and he just started like banging at the door to get out because he couldn't even figure out how to open doors, and he broke the door. Like, I heard all of it and I was just like, good. Go
get hit by a school bus.
You woke up and you realize, like, I'm so embarrassed. It
only cost you one RV screen door.
No, but then he came back in, and then he went back out, and then he came back in, and then he's like, I don't know, he's like pounding around on everything. I hear things lifting and being put. So then finally,
he's looking for his stuff.
Exactly. So then finally he's like, Rob, and I'm like, I'm awake. What is it? Go. Get out.
He's like, you're much more pleasant at the party serving me drinks. I was getting a different kind of tone from you last night at the party. You don't seem as kind now.
So then you have like your CPAP machine on. You're just not even.
Oh, I'm out for days.
Up. And I'm like, you fucker. So then he's like, I don't know where my keys are. I don't know where my phone is. And that's when I just woke you up, and I was like, you better get up right now and you better fix this or you're never going to see me again.
I got up, I go out, he runs off. Like, I lose him like a dog. And I'm like, any second I'm going to hear this RV start behind me, and you're just going to be driving away. Like, you're just going to leave me in my underwear standing in this place, like not even unhooking it, just driving it off. And I'm like, well, she told me. Fucking called my bluff on that. I wish I had my phone too, because I need a ride. So yeah, that was the double down drunken high school parking lot party, and it ended as most drunken high school parking lot parties did: blood, hangovers, angry girlfriends.
In the midst of all of this, I'm so mad at you, and I'm not shying away from it. I'm telling you, I'm so mad at you, and you're like, oh, I know. But then you're just, you're the most infuriating person, because you're like, but that party was so epic. I fucking love that party. That was awesome. Everyone watched my movie. We talked about my racing. I am a megalomaniac.
Everything was coming up Robbie on that party.
Party was fucking awesome.
And I got a guy home safe. I'm a fucking hero.
Oh, yeah, you did. She's like, what was I supposed to do? I have to save this person.
I can't leave a man down.
Yeah, I got him home.
I
gave
on my
him
team.
A safe place to sleep.
Yeah, I take care of my people.
And I'm like, take care of me, dumbass. Like,
you don't work on the car. You wouldn't even work on the party for the car.
Come back to the RV and take care of me and be nice to me. Yeah.
Oh, you poor thing, man.
I know.
It's really tough for you to run up against this racing team all the time.
It is.
That's tough. So tonight I'm like, let's do a podcast. I'll read about God of Speed.
Yeah.
You're just like, you motherfucker.
I was like, get the fuck out of
Are
here.
you really going to do this on this weekend after your stupid ass party and your dumb fuck friends?
Yeah. No, we're not doing that.
Oh, you know what? I made bad choices again.
That's why I was like, I'm not listening to that.
It's that fucking IPA.
So we were in the RV and you're sleeping off your stupid party.
Oh yeah.
And I get up and I'm like, okay, we're in downtown Napa. I'm gonna go downtown. And I said, I'm either gonna go shopping or I'm gonna go wine tasting. And you were just like, do both. Like, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna
spend all the money you want. I know you're mad at me.
Yeah, no, that's what I said to you. Like, I'm not gonna go spend money foolishly just to make you feel better about your stupid decisions last night. Or that's something bitchy like that.
Yeah, no, that was pretty accurate.
I left you, and the kids were coming. So I left you, and I'm downtown, and I went wine tasting, and I was getting good and wine drunk, and my kids were going to come, and they're going to meet me. So I'm texting them, and they have the dog. And I say, hey, just drop off the dog at the campsite, and then come on downtown and do some wine tasting with me. So they roll in, because you're sleeping off the stupid party. And Addie
Still sleeping. It's like 6 o'clock at night.
And Addie says, there's a dead man and a little dog in your RV. She's like, I'll have some wine, please.
Then I got a drunken text from you later saying, tag,
You're
it's
right.
now my turn to be a drunken person making bad decisions, and you got to step up and be a parent and get your ass down here. So I did that. I'm like, okay, shit. Put on my boots and tag, got you home safe. And that was an effort, too. I had to carry you, too.
Did I tell you that I was awking or
No,
wobbling?
you said you tried to steal my phone and say
Awaking.
you were going to walk by yourself, and then you couldn't hold my phone. So I was like, I think I'll drive you as a gentleman. And you argued with me as I tried to put you in the car. It was, the usual shit.
All right.
So I got you back safely. And, hey, Napa, they have alcohol here.
They do.
Let's
They do
raise a
in
cup.
here.
We both fucking drank all of it. Cheers.
Hold on, everybody. It's not last call yet. We have another story on this episode. Excuse me, ma'am. Can I get another round?
If you enjoy hearing Rob Kreider's different humor columns here on the Stories and Cocktails podcast, then I promise you will love his novel, Cadet Blues. Cadet Blues is Rob's hilarious tell-all about desperately trying to survive the shock and awe boot camp-style training at the California Highway Patrol Academy. People from all different walks of life have come to love this book because Cadet Blues is simply a crazy good read. Heartfelt, inspiring, and damn funny. It's available in paperback through Amazon, eBay, or cadetblues.com, where you can get free shipping and a personalized autographed book. Or you can download a digital copy of Cadet Blues from Amazon Kindle, Barnes & Noble Nook, or Apple iBooks. Do yourself a favor and check out the novel, Cadet Blues.
Okay, folks, we have one drink down the gullet, which means we need to get our next one on deck. Time to enjoy the second story. Bartender!
This story is called Pinewood Derby Revenge by Rob Kreider. Hey, that's me. The 2023 Formula One season is over. Spoiler alert, Max Verstappen and Team Red Bull won the World Championship again. But just because F1 is done, that doesn't mean there aren't other very important races occurring around the world. One extremely important race, especially if you're a kid, was held at a church just down the street from my house. The annual Cub Scouts Pinewood Derby. It's that part of the year when fathers spend time in the garage with their sons, building small race cars out of a block of wood, 4 nails, and 4 plastic wheels. While in the garage, fathers teach their sons how to use coping saws, sandpaper, and inevitably, curse words. It was season 3 for the Kreider Racing Cub Scout Pinewood Derby team. The first 2 years were organization, research, and development years, so the team could determine the best way to roll a 7-inch piece of wood down a sloped track. Our rookie year was a tough learning experience, especially for my son. That is when he learned that the winning cars were built by the dads as opposed to the actual Cub Scouts themselves. The second year was a tough learning experience for me. That's when I learned that even if dad builds the car, that doesn't guarantee a win. Even if old dad calls in sick to work and spends an entire week in the garage wet sanding and painting the piece of wood to lower the aerodynamic drag, even then, victory is not imminent. To speak frankly, year 2, we got our butts handed to us. It was like we were racing a stock Hyundai Accent at the 24 hours of Le Mans. I started planning and making preparations for this year's car about 5 milliseconds after we lost the race last year. This year, I spared no expense. I built our car just like Team Red Bull builds their cars, with a ton of money and a very loose interpretation of the rulebook. This year's car was built from a piece of wood that I had shipped direct from Norway. The wheels for our car were bought off the internet from a company which encourages the loose rulebook interpretation I was talking about. Sure, rule interpretations, otherwise known as cheating, isn't exactly what the Cub Scouts are trying to teach the boys. But losing wasn't a very fun lesson. We had already earned that achievement patch twice. To ensure we would be victorious, I ordered our highly confidential speed secret all the way from Europe. Europe doesn't even have Cub Scouts, but they do know how to build fast cars. Specifically, I ordered some black market laser-cut nickel-plated axles direct from Italy. Yes, Italy, the same country that produces Ferraris. Coincidence? I don't think so. As our revenge slowly sailed its way to the States on a boat from Italy, my son and I carefully shaped the body of the car to be as aerodynamic as possible. When I say my son and I mean me. My son did watch, though. In order to say that we built the car together, I made sure that any time I was in the garage working on the car, my son was at least in the driveway, kicking a soccer ball around. He was always within 100 feet of me during all stages of construction, hence it's my interpretation of the, quote, we built the car together rule. Once the car was completed in all its beauty, Norwegian wood, laser-cut Italian axles, polished shaved wheels, and 10 coats of paint, we took it to the official Cub Scout Pinewood Derby race. We appropriately named the car the Carrera Madera. For you non-Spanish-speaking folks, Carrera Madera means racing wood. How did the Carrera Madera fare? Good. Damn good. Maybe a little too good. While we went to weigh the car in for the 5-ounce tech inspection, the car wouldn't stay on the electronic scale. The Italian axles worked so well, the car wouldn't even rest on a level surface. They finally gave up and set our car upside down on its roof just to weigh it. When the race started, our car jumped out to an early lead and never looked back. Round after round, the Carrera Madera never lost a single race, and it didn't even bother trying to make it look hard. It was obvious to everyone something was probably a bit suspicious with my car. My son's car. Each time the car went across the finish line first, way first, like big time first, inside I was jumping for joy. However, I just stood there stoically as if I had nothing to do with a little car that couldn't be beat. Even though I was totally excited that 3 seasons of development and extreme rule interpretation were totally paying off, at the same time, I did feel a little bit of shame. We were crushing the competition. Nobody could touch us. I was celebrating the fact that I, a grown man, had used every power tool I own in my garage, 100 hours of labor, and a few $100s to whip on a 6-year-old kid who built the car himself using only the $3 Cub Scout Pinewood Derby kit. It wasn't much of a victory, really. But after years of getting killed by other dads who built the cars, our victory still felt kinda sweet. After all the racing was over, they gave my son the beautiful championship trophy. Disappointingly, they didn't have a trophy girl from the local brownie troop to give him a kiss on the cheek. My son did have a huge smile on his face as he held the trophy over his head. I felt proud. We'd finally done it. Like Team Red Bull, Kreider Racing was victorious. By the way, I was recently notified by the Cub Scout organization that I've been given a lifetime ban from participating in the Pinewood Derby.
Okay, patrons, you've been to this bar before. You know it's cocktail hour again. Are we doing shots or what?
Hey, welcome to the Stories and Cocktails podcast, drunken portion of the show coming to you live. Ooh, cracking one on the show. I like it. In the studio bungalow. What are you drinking there, Mrs. Kreider?
Bud Light.
Bud Light. Shocking. This is my shock face. I had no idea that you were drinking Bud Light. Let me tell you what I'm drinking. I'm drinking a very special thing tonight. I'm going to a little... Oh, what is that sound?
Now, wait, were you showing me or was I listening?
It was an auditory show. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? Use your fucking ears.
So what was that sound?
That is the sound of a very, very nice bottle of Clase Azul Gold. So I'm drinking just straight sipping tequila tonight.
Right, let me
'cause
try
it is the good
Put
shit.
it over here. Let me try
All right,
it.
let me see if you can do
Let me
it.
try it.
All right.
So the bottle becomes like a bell.
The bottle becomes a bell.
Ah, that's nice.
You just friggin'... Oh, I gotta do it right. There's a technique on it. When you're too drunk, you can't do it. Anyways, so listen, I can't afford this shit. This is the good shit.
Yeah?
But I have a friend who was very kind, and he bought me this very high-end bottle of tequila, Dr. Ricky Martin, from my retirement party. So thank you, Dr. Ricky Martin.
I don't know because I don't drink tequila, but is it good tequila and a good bell?
It is fantastic tequila.
Okay, so it's not like a blow pop where it's like a mediocre sucker and a mediocre bubble gum.
No, this is fucking high-end shit. It's the good shit.
It's the good shit. So
Yeah.
you like it.
I have good friends. They buy me the good shit.
Okay, so who bought this for you again?
Dr. Ricky Martin.
Fucking Ricky Martin.
Yeah, Ricky Martin.
Are you talking
Everybody
about,
knows Ricky Martin.
Are you talking about Puerto Rican pop sensation, ex-menudo pop sensation, singer of Livin' La Vida Loca? Ricky Martin. Sing it.
Living La Vida Loca. I am 100%
Did he
definitely not
buy
talking
you
about that Ricky Martin.
tequila?
No, I don't even know that about fucking Ricky Martin. I don't know those motherfuckers from Puerto Rico. I'm from Fresno.
You don't know that Ricky Martin.
No, I never met that motherfucker.
So this is our other friend.
That Ricky Martin, who could afford to buy me some nice tequila, has not bought me any tequila. But my other friend, Ricky Martin, bought me this tequila.
Okay, this is Dr. Ricky Martin. Not to be mistaken with Livin' La Vida Loca.
No.
Ex-menudo, Puerto Rican pop sensation.
Definitely not.
Ricky
and so
Martin.
listen, he wasn't always a doctor, right? He was a male dancer, you know, and then...
Wait, which one? I'm so confused.
Probably both of them, I'm assuming. At one point, they could have been the same. Like, kind of like Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson
Wait.
never saw them in the same place at the same time. They
Are
might have been
you-
the same person.
Are you about to to turn this podcast into a Lifetime movie where you talk about how Ricky Martin was just a poor kid from the Central Valley working his way through med school, doing a little erotic dancing on the side?
It's a great story. The shit sells itself. I mean, fucking, I got producers on the line right now. They want to buy this fucking screenplay from me.
This is true. This happened. I never saw him as a male entertainer. I never did. I just met him as my friend's boyfriend. You know what I mean? So my friend is just like, hey, this is my boyfriend. His name is Rick. And I was like, okay. And I would love to say in the story, she's like, last name Martin. I'm like, you're dating Ricky Martin, Puerto Rican pop sensation. But I mean, people don't do that. She didn't even tell me his last name. I wouldn't know his last name until later. But she's just like, this is my boyfriend, Rick. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, he's cute. Like, oh, I like him. Like, I'll accept him. You know what I mean? And then here's the crazy part is that we start to get to know him. And then he's just like, do you know that I'm a male dancer? Like, and I'm like, I don't know what that means. Like, do you know how to dance and you're a male? And he's like, no, I mean, like, I'm a stripper. And I'm like, what?
I don't think they like the term stripper.
And then there's
dancer.
Then there's me, right? So I'm like, the fuck you are. You're not a stripper. Show me. But then there's also me, right? So he's like, well, I would do that. And he starts doing like a little bit of, and it's all like in fun, right? But now
But was it arousing?
I am so uncomfortable. I'm like, stop. I'm kidding. Like, this is no.
Were you saying stop because he was arousing you?
No.
Just something you need to tell me.
No. I just, how I just like, I get super embarrassed and I'm just like, stop.
Is there a reason he bought me this bottle of tequila? Because he's like, I feel bad. I aroused your wife.
No.
It was unholy.
Oh, no. You wish there was some kind of like, weird story.
I have a weird story. I got arrested with this motherfucker.
No, that was the same night. So the same night that he's like telling me like, on the side to make money for me to fund my med school, I'm a stripper. And I'm just like, dude, that's like a Lifetime movie, dude. And you're the wrong gender, like to be the sad, tragic stripper.
Working my way through
med school. And he's just like, no. And he like started to like do his moves on the patio. That was the same exact night that you say that you guys
I was
were
arrested. I was arrested.
No. Were you actually arrested? Or were you just in custody for about 9 seconds and then you told them who you were and they were like, my bad, and we slipped out unbeknownst to all of our friends, and our friends went and they got processed at the county jail and we were at home?
So it's a fucked up thing because even though both myself and Dr. Ricky Martin were incarcerated in a moment, I didn't go to jail with him.
No, you weren't incarcerated.
He went to jail.
Incarcerated means
we were
you were actually processed.
Yeah, we were detained.
We were
detained
for like a second.
So listen, first of all, we didn't do anything wrong. Okay.
Right.
We went to a club. It was called Bulldog Brewing in Fresno in Palm and Shaw.
The Garden Village.
The Garden Village. And it was a great place to be.
It's not there anymore.
Yeah, it's gone. It got shut down shortly after our arrest.
Well, yeah, because people kept getting into fucking fights and getting arrested and shit.
So we were seeing this great cover band. We're having a great time. Unbeknownst to me, it was myself and Dr. Ricky Martin and Cesar Lopez, and we were just partying, having a good time. I was there as the third wheel. Like, you guys, I'm not from here. You guys all went to high school together, so I'm the new kid in town at that point. I've been in town for a couple months. You're like, hey, we're going to go see some of my friends and their boyfriends or husbands. I'm like, whatever. So we're partying, we're drinking, we're having a good time.
Okay, so let me preface this, though, because you did say, like, you're new. You're right. You were brand new in town. Well, we were both, like, back in. Like,
I was a highway patrolman in Madera.
Brand new back in town. Like, I had moved away. I came back. Now, my friends that I mean, these are my girlfriends since elementary school. That's how far back.
Since you were knee-high to a duck.
Right. And now we're adults. But, like, some time had gone by. Like, I went away and, like, now it's like, okay, we're reconnecting as adults and we have these adult partners now. And, we're introducing each other. Like, this is my husband. This is my husband. This is my boyfriend, whatever. But then the funny part, the way this story goes is it's a Mexican, an Asian, and a white guy walk into a bar.
Yes, this is true. So we go in this bar and this really great cover band is playing. We're like rocking out. And apparently during Dr. Ricky Martin's, stripper days, there was some interaction with some young female and something didn't go the way she wanted to. And
okay, that makes it sound like it's like an episode of FCB.
I don't know what happened. I don't know because all I know is I got arrested. So all I know is that at some point a drink is thrown into someone's face.
Right. This This isn't like
This is how
when
bar
you say
fights
like
go.
something went wrong though. This isn't like anything like
Nefarious.
insidious or
Yeah.
nefarious. This is just like we're talking about people in their 20s.
Yeah.
This is just like a
She was pissed about a lap
like a
dance. I don't know.
3-night stand
I don't
went
know
wrong
what
or
happened.
something like
All
that.
I know is
yeah.
that I'm minding my own business, shaking my ass to the music, and somebody gets a drink thrown in their face. I don't even remember who it was, but it had dealt with Rick and his stripping. And then suddenly a fight breaks out between like girls, and then Caesar, being a gentleman, a big Mexican gentleman, he jumps in and puts his hands up like, hey, ladies, let's stop doing this, right? So then, of course, security goes berserk, and they grab Caesar, and they fucking put their arm around his neck. They're choking the shit out of him. Like, right? I mean, it's like, it's as racist as it gets. Like,
Yeah.
oh, bar fight between two girls, mad at Dr. Ricky Martin over lap dance. Now let's beat the fuck out of Caesar. So Caesar's blue in the
That's
face.
what it was. It was between two girls.
Yes.
It was like Tania, Dr. Ricky Martin's future wife, got, liquid thrown in her face or something by this other girl. So it was like two girls like fighting, and they weren't even fighting. They were just like doing like girls were doing, like where their fingers are up and they're pointing, and it's like,
Fuck you, bitch.
Fuck you, bitch. And then like the other girl was like, my brother's going to get here and he's going to kick your fucking ass. And so there was like
That's
a
right.
lot.
I forgot. There was a brother.
There was a brother.
My brother is going to come and kick your ass.
Yeah. So there
That's
was
what
a
it was.
brother who was going to come
Kick somebody's
and
ass.
kick somebody's ass. And so yes, you're right. So Caesar gets in, and he tries like a gentleman. He tries to like break it up. He's just like, hey, we're all having a good
Let's
time.
calm
here.
down. It was his birthday. He's like, let's calm
Yeah,
down.
that's
It's
right.
my
It
fucking
was his
birthday. Let's
birthday.
just chill out. So security decides to choke out Caesar. He's turning blue. I'm like, my friend is brown. Now he's blue. So I gently go to the security guard and I go, hey, look, I'm off duty higher patrol. That's
No.
my friend.
You're
Please stop
rewriting
choking him.
history.
And the guy goes, get the fuck out of my face. And I realized then I'm like, okay, this isn't going well. So I jump on stage with the band.
Okay.
Because
so
I've been in a band. I know, like, when the shit goes down, you want to be on stage.
okay. So you're not rewriting history. When you were saying like I went to the security, I'm like, dude, I don't remember that part. What I remember is like all of the house lights go on. Like
Yeah.
the DJ stops, the house lights going on, the party's over, and I look and I see one of my friends' boyfriends, because I think you and I were the only ones that were married at the time.
Yeah.
No, Caesar and Angela were married. Okay, so I see one of my friends' boyfriends like on the ground, like in a tussle with security.
Right.
Then I see Caesar on the ground, like in a tussle or being in a chokehold with security. And then I look up and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, no, you guys, like, we're safe. Like, Rob spent 6 months in the CHP Academy. He's been a CHP officer for 2 whole years now. Like,
He's the man.
he's an upstanding
He's basically Jason Statham
officer
at this
of
point.
the law. Like, nothing can happen to us. We're safe. He's going to figure all of this out. He's going to make sure that justice perseveres
Yeah.
in Bulldog Brewery. So I'm looking around for you to come in and, I don't know, like Jason Statham, like you said, and like choke some people out with your shirt or something like that and do something really macho. And I literally look up and you're like standing on the stage, like
With the band.
drinking out of your drink still, like out of a straw. You're just standing there, like sucking, like I don't know how to do like a sucking sound, but you're like just drink.
Well, I
Like,
paid for that drink. I knew this bar was about to
Right.
close.
and then you have this look on your face where you're just like, this is fucking entertaining. And then you're also just like, so these are my wife's friends. So this is
So
my
welcome
life.
to Fresno.
This is my life now.
We
in
call it
Fresno.
WTF. What the fuck? Welcome
What
to
the-
Fresno.
what
So that's
the
what I
fuck?
was
Welcome to
doing.
Fresno. Okay.
No, what happened was I interacted with the staff, and I'm like, hey, man, I'm off duty CHP. Please stop choking my friend out. He's just trying to break up a fight. And they looked at me, and they're just like, fuck you. And I was like, okay. Music loud. Adrenaline's pumping. They're not listening to me. They can't hear me probably. So this is no time to get in a, like, who's got the bigger dick? Who's a real cop? Who's a security guard?
Right.
So I recognize early on, I'm like, this is the lose-lose for me. I'm going to get out of the way. So I get up on stage. I watch the lights go on. I watch the fucking Fresno PD come in, kick the shit out of everybody, hook both of my new friends who have been friends of mine for like 45 minutes at this point. And then I'm like, well, that sucks. And then I see this head security guy talking to Fresno PD. He looks on stage, he sees me, he goes, and that motherfucker there right now. And I was like, what? And then boom, I'm fucking cuffed. Now, hands behind my back, locked in handcuffs. Now, listen, I really didn't see this coming. I'm a fucking highway patrolman. I just went to a bar, and next thing you know, I'm fucking arrested. I'm like,
So
holy shit.
So the music is off, all the house lights are on, the cops have rolled in, party's over. Bulldog Brewery is like, get the fuck out, party's over, close your tab.
Everybody get the fuck out
So
of here.
everybody hates you guys. So exactly 3 people. The original girl who's part of the girl fight,
Gone.
no. The brother never showed up.
Nope.
So exactly 3 people who are all friends. 3
All
friends
of us got hooked.
get like marched out of Bulldog Brewery in cuffs, and everyone is looking at you.
Dude, no, people are screaming at me. Some girl comes up to me and goes, thanks a lot, you fucking asshole. I just paid $20 cover to get in this fucking club and have the party shut down.
Right.
I'm looking at her, I'm like, I'm sorry, but I had nothing to do with this.
So you guys completely shut down the party. 3
Yes.
friends.
Yes.
3 friends who were not fighting each other, but were somehow in some kind of tussle. So now the whole party's over, and we come out, and I'm still like, this can't be happening. Like, this is super surreal. Like, you guys don't understand. Like, he's a CHP
And
officer.
full disclosure, I could lose my job over this. This is not good.
Right. And I'm just like, we don't get in fights. Like,
We didn't do this.
with people. Like, we drink a lot, but we don't get in fights. We make friends. We don't get in fights with people. Like I said, surreal is the best word that can explain it. So it's just not really happening. It's not really processed. And I'm processing. I'm like, dude, we're adults now. Like, we have a babysitter at home. We got two kids. We
I
got
gotta
to
get
go back
home.
to. Like, we can't get arrested. And we come out, and I'm just waiting for you to like explain it, and it's just gonna go away, you know?
Well, I was trying to explain it, but nobody gave a fuck.
Right.
That was the thing. So I'm standing outside in cuffs, and I'm playing it cool because I'm like, all right, like I said, adrenaline's up, people are fired up. I'm standing next to a sergeant, and once things calm down, I'm still in cuffs. My hands are behind my back, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? Listen, I'm off duty CHP. And he looks at me, he goes, fuck. He goes, are you really CHP? I go, yeah, man, I really am. He goes, okay. Are you driving home? And I'm like, yeah, I got a fucking truck here. I'm driving home. He looks in my eyes. He's like, you're not fucking driving home. He goes, you got money for a cab? I don't have a fucking dollar on me. I looked at him. I go, oh, yeah, I have money for a cab for sure. This is before Uber. I definitely have money for a cab. He's like, okay, here's what we're going to do.
This is before Uber. This is before like Apple Pay was loaded in your
It was
phone.
before cell phones with
This was
cameras.
before,
all that
exactly.
shit.
That we didn't even have a fucking cell phone
No.
on us.
So he's like, okay, here's what we're
This
going
would
to
have
do.
been like 02.
He looks at me. He goes, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put you in the back of a Fresno PD car. There's going to be a cab that's going to be parked right next to it. We're going to push you through the back seat into the cab. You're going to get the fuck out of here. And I just go, yes, sir. And then I look at you because you walk up, and I'm trying to convey to you,
Okay, so
don't ask me any questions. Just do what I tell you to do.
okay, and where I'm at is I'm with the women. So you guys get ushered out like a bunch of dirt bags in
Yeah,
cuffs. You know
for
what I
sure.
mean?
Like fucking
And
Lee Harvey Oswald and shit.
right. And you guys are like being like sequestered from the crowd, and the crowd hates you. And so we women come out, and at this point, the original chick, she's still chipping away. She's still just like, my brother,
Fucking bitch.
my brother's gonna fucking kick your ass. So
You're like, well, Fresno PD and the security guards already kicked their asses, so I think
And your
enough
brother's not
ass
here.
kicking
Yeah.
is done.
And so, like, the girls are kind of still escalating, and at this point, you go and you now have the attention
The sergeant.
of the sergeant, and so you're sort of like,
I'm
removed.
brokering a deal. That's what I'm
Exactly.
doing.
And
This is exactly how you get fired. Using your position for your own advantage is exactly how you get
to
fired.
broker this deal.
And for sure, I was like, I'm a highway patrolman. Do not take me to jail.
So I kind of I don't notice yet that Caesar and Rick are like kind of like over here, like doing their
The
own
Mexican
thing.
and the Asian guy are over
Right.
there. The white guy's getting
And
a deal.
you're like sort of like talking to the sergeant. Like, I kind of don't see, like, I don't know, just with my eyes, I don't see the separation yet. And I still think that you're going to broker a deal for everyone. But in the meantime, Tania, Rick's future wife, she's out there and she's just got like the finger up and she's just doing like the sideways head. And she's just like, oh, of course, the fucking white guy, but the Mexican and the Asian. And so like, she's the first one that like really points it out. Like she's like way ahead of her times. It's like 2001, 2002. And she's just like, this is some fucking racist bullshit. the white guy's cutting a deal. You guys are cutting him loose. And the Mexican and the Asian are going to jail. And I'm just like, whoa, like that's a lot coming at me in like 01, 02. Like I'm not going to get woke for like another 20 fucking years. You know what I mean?
Way ahead of it.
Like, yeah. Like,
I just looked at
and
you
I
and
still was like, I'm looking at her and I'm just like,
no, Rob's broke a deal for everybody.
Yeah. I'm like, no, like we're all like really good people and good adults.
We'll be at the Cheesecake Factory in half an hour.
Exactly. I'm like, this shit doesn't happen to us. Like we don't roll into bars and get arrested. Like this doesn't happen to us. Like,
well, it's true. We don't roll into bars and get arrested, but they did.
Oh, wow. Now we're doing
that's
what
happened.
we in
Because the reality was that I looked at you and I said, look, you and I have a lot to lose right now, so I need you to shut the fuck up and just follow me.
Well, that's what you did.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did.
You said, you were like, here, honey, get inside this like magical like tunnel of, because it was pretty trick the way you and the Fresno PD
Fresno PD
sergeant,
did it great because it looked to everybody in the crowd. I went in a Fresno PD car and I went to jail.
Right.
Like everybody else.
Like the cab had rolled up. What was so trick about this?
They coordinated it. 2 Crown Vics.
Okay.
One's a police car, one's a cab. Set up, one blocking the other in front of the bar.
But prior to like Uber, I mean, on average, to get a cab in Fresno, you waited 3 hours.
I would say at least an hour and a half to 7 hours, yeah.
Right. On average, 3 hours to get a cab. So the fact that that cab just was there, like that's a miracle in and of itself.
No, that's called it's called white privilege and working with the sergeant.
Then they lined their back doors up completely so that we went into like a magical tunnel. Like the front of the tunnel was like the back seat of
the back
patrol
seat
car,
arrested of a Fresno PD car for exactly 15 seconds.
Right. And then you told me, you're like, here, get inside the back seat. And I was like, dude, I'm not getting fucking arrested. And you're just like, no, trust me, bitch, get inside. And you did have to kind of call me bitch because I was like, what about our friends? I was like breaking down. I was like crying. Like, we can't just steal on our friends.
Fuck them. Let's go.
You did. You did. We were in the back seat of that patrol car. And I was like, no, you need to save our friends. And you were just like, every man for himself. I need to put food on our table.
No, when I said fuck them, I meant I was like, fuck them. I've been in this town about 2 months. I just met your friends' boyfriends. They got me arrested. I did not do anything to get arrested tonight. I have a job I'm going to lose. I can't help them. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Okay.
And that was looking out for us. The reason we're retired right now is because I didn't get fired that night.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, everything that you're saying is correct, except that you have like a few details wrong. You knew Caesar and Angela. Caesar came and visited us in Cal Poly like a bunch of times.
I mean, I knew them.
They were married. They were married. We went to their wedding. I was in their wedding. So like I said, I had to like do the
I don't know
math,
the timeline of that, but yeah.
They were definitely married because both kids were at home and I was pregnant in their wedding. Like I can remember.
Okay, gotcha.
They were married. So yeah, we got in.
Regardless, I left them to go to prison.
We got in one side of the patrol car and then we scooted across the back. You're like, scoot. And then we exited one door. That's why I say it's a tunnel. And got into the back of a cab.
Now, here's why I will defend myself. When they were taking the cuffs off me right in between the doors of the police car and the cab, I go, hey, man, do you want to take my statement? Because my friends really didn't do anything. They were really trying to break up a fight in there. And the guy looked at me. He goes, I don't give a shit about what you have to say right now. And I was like, 10-4. Let's get in the car. So I was trying to help all night. I tried to keep Caesar from getting choked out. I tried to interact with Fresno PD. I tried to give a statement. Nobody wanted to fucking hear from me. They're like, those guys are going to jail. There was a bar fight. Someone's going to go to jail. And luckily for you, you're a high patrolman, so you're not going to jail. And I was like, okay. And you're like, this is fucked up. We're helping our friends. I'm like, I can't. I've tried. I know how to interact with the police. I work for the police. Like standing up there with my dick out, drunk as fuck, like, this is fucking bullshit, would have landed me right in a cell next to those guys. And I can't help them there either. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I had to play it that way.
Yeah. And it all worked out. Like we were able to just expedite the whole process. They're like, okay, we're going to hear from you right now. You didn't do anything wrong. You're a highway patrolman. Get in this cab. They essentially got the same treatment. They just had to sit about 15 hours in Fresno County Jail before someone said to them, like, oh, it turns out like it was just a couple of girls yelling at each other. You guys didn't actually do anything. You broke it up. Like, yeah, sorry, our bad. So eventually our friends got out too. It's just they had to sit in a holding cell.
When the sun came up.
Yeah, they had to sit in a holding cell a little bit longer than.
So we jump in that cab and the guy goes, okay, where do you guys live? I go, well, listen, I live on Robinwood, but I need you to take me to a B of A if you want to get paid. Because I have no money to pay you. So we get some cash. We get home. I go to the bathroom. I fucking throw up because I'm like, I fucked up. This is not good. You know what I mean? Like, what am I doing in Fresno? How did I get arrested? I go to work. I think
Who
the next
are my
day.
wife's friends,
Yeah.
and therefore who is my wife?
So I'm sitting in a coffee shop at like 5 in the morning because I work day shift in Madera with some senior guys. And I'm like, hey, hypothetically, a friend of mine, a guy I know, he was in a kind of a tiff at a bar and he got detained. I mean, they're like, did he get cuffed? I'm like, yeah, he was arrested. I'm like, but he got out of it. He mentioned, they're like, I'm like, what do you think? You think you should tell the management and the sergeant like what happened, or just kind of like, play it cool? And they looked at me, they took a sip of coffee and they go, don't say shit. I was like, okay, 10-4, don't say shit. So here's the craziest part of that story. I later went back to school. I go to Fresno State to get my bachelor's degree in criminology. One of my first classes, I'm sitting in the front row, so I'm trying to learn. The instructor walks in. It's the fucking sergeant who let me
You
go.
recognized him?
100%. Of course I recognized him.
Oh,
Fucking
wow.
kept me out of jail. He walks right in. I was like, holy shit. This motherfucker
Did you tell him?
saved my career. Yeah. I talked to him probably about mid-semester when I was getting a solid A. I'm like, hey, we met before.
I
He's
can't
like-
imagine that he
He's like,
remembered you.
he's like, have we? He didn't remember.
Yeah, no, that probably
remember.
happens.
But, sir, I appreciate your service.
Okay, so there's a couple funny things that I want to point out. One, even as I'm saying to it, like, oh, he probably didn't remember you. We were such babies in the Highway Patrol. We were so kind of like naive to like the goodness of law enforcement, right? We were like,
Well, it's always been good to us at that point.
right, but like I was like, oh my God, this would be like the worst thing that could ever happen to a law enforcement officer, that he would be standing on the stage with the band while people he knows are getting into a tussle, like the shame, right? But now, 25 years later, it's just like, dude, we've known, and I know you don't work anymore, so we don't have to like risk like, oh, you're going to get fired. But I know you're still really blue and gold. So you're going to be mad at me that I start airing the dirty laundry. But I mean, like we've known guys who've gotten like, picked up because they're beating the shit out of their girlfriends. Well, they have a wife at home. You know what I mean? They're beating the shit out of their girlfriends and their wives for fucking knowing about each other. They're drinking and driving. They're in Hawaii and they're pissed off at some friend they share an Airbnb with because there's like weed smoking or who knows. Like the amount of bad decisions that we know after 25 years that we've seen Highway Patrol officers make, like us just standing next to our friends while they got into some kind of like girl fight at a bar was fucking nothing.
Oh, no, of
It was
course.
fucking
No,
nothing.
here's the thing. The right thing to do would have been to say nothing, go to jail, then tell the sergeant like, hey, I got arrested last night, but I didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
Never say I'm a highway patrolman. I would have been cleared of it. But I knew that the investigation would have been problematic for future promotions and getting on the mate team, all the things I ended up accomplishing. Where I erred was I told Fresno PD, I'm a highway patrolman, let me go. And so that was
Oh, okay.
that was the thing that would have got me fired. I didn't do anything wrong. I literally touched a guy on the shoulder. I'm like, please stop choking out my friend. He didn't do anything. He goes, fuck you. I was like, okay, you can't hear me. It's you're a security guard. I'll just get out of your way. And then I backed off. So if there had been like any, cameras, whatever, like that would have been cleared of the investigation. But when I used my position of authority for my own personal gain, that's where I was fucked.
So
That's why I kept it a secret.
So the next day we woke up and I was really, 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 really hungover because, I mean, yes, our truck was there. You were planning on driving. I wasn't planning on driving. So I was getting drunk for the ages. You know what I mean? So I woke up. I was
planning on driving many hours later because I know they're going to shut the club
right.
down.
But you weren't drinking as heavily as me because you were planning on driving.
Right, eventually.
So I'm very, very hungover. You're hungover on just shame and worry, right? That you're going to get in trouble at work. So we're not in our best shape. Our kids at this point are maybe 5 and 3, right? We got little kids at this point. And we had just like moved into this house. This was like our new house, and it had this brick fireplace. And all along, I knew like, Oh, that brick fireplace. Like we need to put like a noodle across the top or something. Like one of our kids is going to end up falling into that brick fireplace.
One of our klutz kids learning to walk. He's gonna
Right.
smack his head on that thing.
This is a danger. We need to childproof this brick fireplace. Well, that fucking morning, probably because like neither one of us is getting up
Or watching our kids.
or watching
at
our
all.
kids.
Parents of the
So-
fucking year right here.
Addie trips and falls into the brick fireplace that morning, of course. And she's just got like this huge goose egg now on her forehead from the fireplace. And she's not dressed, and Gus isn't dressed. Like these look like two little like fucking homeless kids, or just the children of a mother who was just out late and is hungover.
Up all night drinking, hoping to get her husband out
Right.
of jail.
So I wake up and I'm like, oh, these kids, like this one fell and has like this goose egg. They're hungry. They need something to eat. So I ordered Domino's because that's like mother of the fucking year. I'm ordering Domino's because I can't even like feed my kids. I mean, this is like the biggest, shameful, most awful morning ever. So I ordered Domino's. The kids are like half dressed. They're dirty. They've got this bruises, goose egg on their forehead, or just Addie. I'm exaggerating, but Addie has this huge goose egg, fresh goose egg. You're like, I gotta go ride my bike to go get the truck.
Yeah, so this is the bike ride of shame, right? You're hungover, you get on your fucking beach cruiser, and you're riding across town. Now, I don't know this town. I'm like, I don't know how far it is. Like, I'm just riding my bicycle to find my truck because I've left it in a bar
And
parking
again,
lot.
this is before cell phones, before like you don't have like GPS.
Yeah, I'm not now. I'm like, okay, so I go to Shaw, and I go down
Right.
Shaw. I go to the east. You're like, yeah, just fucking ride east. You'll run into it. I'm like, hopefully my truck is still there.
So
You know what I
you're doing the bicycle ride of shame.
For sure.
Right. I'm waiting for Domino's. Like I'm doing the Domino's order of shame, like just so I can feed my own kids. The kids are like half dressed. I still have yesterday's makeup on. I look like a fucking wreck. Well,
I still got handcuff marks on my
Yeah.
wrists.
it's total like fucking white trash up in our house right now, right?
Oh, for sure.
Worst morning, like just the most shameful morning. There's a knock at the door. I'm like, oh, thank God, Domino's.
The pizza's here.
Like the pizza's here. I open the door. I can't make this shit up. It's 2 Mormon missionaries. I'm holding Addie.
She's got a
Addie.
fucking
she's-
scar on her head.
And I'm holding her. And when I say like she's not dressed, like she was like totally, it was like that total like white trash, like just a kid in a diaper,
Yeah.
right? And
She's
she,
just topless with a diaper on.
yeah, and she has like no hair because she's like a little bald toddler. You know what I mean? So it's like, is it a girl? It's a boy. It's just like this androgynous little white trash kid with like a like dried up snot underneath their lip and in a diaper and this like huge bruise on her forehead. You know what I mean? And then this like this total hungover mom. And I'm just hungover from alcohol and shame
And drama.
and drama. Yeah, I'm shamed that like that my husband was in cuffs, but I'm also shamed that like we sort of like build on our friends.
Yeah, you were really mad at me that I didn't get them out of jail. I'm like, you don't understand how it works. I couldn't fucking do it.
Right. And again, this is like pre Steve Jobs, Apple iPhone era. So I couldn't just like send my friends like a quick text like
Sorry, girl.
how are you? Or sorry, or like a gif. Like that was crazy. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't do that. So I'm just like, do we have friends? Are our friends in jail? Like, you know, you're getting the bike. Is the pizza coming? I'm just like totally distressed. And here's 2 Mormon missionaries standing like in, you know,
Your
our
porch.
doorway in our porch. And they're just like,
Have you read the good book?
yeah, they're like, hey, God called and he said that maybe you could use a little checking in on.
Maybe some guidance from the Lord today.
Right. And I was just like, so I'm like, I'm too
It seems
parked.
like you might be a bit off the rails, and we're here to get you
Yeah.
back on.
No, so I was like 50%. I was like, holy shit, your timing is perfect. I need saving. Please, God, save me. But I'm also like 50% like, your timing is fucking terrible. I thought you were the goddamn pizza. Get off my property.
You fucking zealots, get off the fucking porch.
Like, no, like the last thing I need right now is an invitation to your fucking cult. Get the fuck out of here.
But if you had a casserole, that'd be great because the kids are starving.
Exactly.
Now, if you want to spread the good news, spread me a goddamn Mormon funeral potatoes right now. We need to use that right now.
The funny thing is, though, is like, you know, later in life, other things come along, more drama or whatever, and you say to yourself, and I'm using like this hypothetical you say like, oh God, if only you could give me a sign. God, just give me a sign. And
Something.
God would say to me, like, Sarah, I gave you the fucking sign. I
mean,
don't
all
know how
fucking
much
bright
clearer I
lights,
could
like
make
a goddamn
it.
runway at an airport. I brought 2 missionaries to your house the day after your husband
And
was
you
arrested.
said, with your freaking white trash child sitting on your hip, you said, "Oh, I thought you were the pizza. Not today. I don't have time for you. Go away. Call me when you're a fucking Domino's delivery boy."
Listen, Colin, go back to Nebraska. Your mission is over. You failed.
You're not saving me today.
Yeah. No, that was a tough day. And I'll tell you why. You were dealing with that shame, and thank goodness I wasn't home because I would have had a different version of how that went. I'm sure you were very cordial with them. I was just sweating beer. It was like a hot Fresno day, just riding a beach cruiser with low air pressure, trying to find my truck. And when you're doing that, you're just like, what life choices have I made to land me here? Why did I move to fucking Fresno? Why did I meet these fucking people with my wife? Why did I get arrested last night? Where's my fucking truck? This is the worst.
So all of that, this was a long story. What are we looking at?
We're 37 minutes in.
Okay, so this is a 37-minute story that just started with you're like, "Hey, I'm drinking tequila," and Dr. Ricky Martin got me this tequila.
And thank you, Dr. Ricky Martin.
We haven't
I'll
even
ring the bell again.
talked about the actual story.
Yeah, and there's a lot in the story.
The story is called Pinewood Derby Revenge, published in The Wheel magazine, December 1st, 2023.
It's about Pinewood Derby. So one of the things we try to do here on the show is, besides getting drunk, is we talk about what in the story is real, what's kind of like a little bit of bullshit. And the story is real in that we built a super, super fast car and we won the Pinewood Derby. And the story is real in that there was about a little bit of shame on my part in that I did beat 6-year-olds as a grown-ass man in the Pinewood Derby. But it's a family tradition that the Kreiders have. My grandpa did it. My brother does it for his son, my nephew. Like, it's just something that kind of happens in our family because we're race car drivers and we won them in the Pinewood Derby. But the part that's not in the story is that I say in the story that my son held the trophy up high and he was so proud. But that's not true. My son was embarrassed. He has an incredible ethical compass inside. He's a true, good human being. And he knew that we fucking cheated in the Pinewood Derby. And he has like ongoing like shit about it in his life right now, even though he's like 20 something years old. Like, he's just like still mad at me that I put him in that situation, that he had to know that he didn't build that car and
Yeah,
it was
no,
a bullshit win.
This story was very triggering.
I'm sure.
You started reading it, and I had like a pretty good buzz on, and I was like really happy. I'm just like, oh my God, this is like a great day. We're having a great day. And then you started reading the story, and I was just like, oh, I fucking hate you.
I forgot my husband's a monster.
Yeah, why am I in this marriage? This
You didn't get our friends out of jail.
horrible
And you
day.
cheated the Pinewood Derby.
This is-
You're an asshole.
Yeah, no, so I was like super mad at you. And then we came upstairs and we're about to podcast, and I was just like being silent. And you were like, okay, let's make sure that we're kind to each other. Let's keep it positive. And I'm like, hey, you were the one that fucking wrote the story, read the story. You're the one that behaved this way.
Yeah, your behavior is not to be excused.
Like, there's so
Just because you're a
much-
humor columnist doesn't mean you could cheat in the Pinewood Derby and write a funny little quip story and then get like over it.
There's so much in the story. I'm standing there in the kitchen and I'm making our cocktails, and you're reading the story, and I'm just like, how's I'm making the cocktails, trying to be cheerful and positive.
Are you spitting in my tequila?
Oh, there's so much in the story where you're just like, it's a 3-year process. I wanted to like stop, like, and just break the bottle and look at you and like a 3-year fucking, it's not a 3-year fucking process, dude. It's the Cub Scouts. Like, the kids go in the garage, they make a fucking car, they take it to the race. Only you and your fucking crazy town say like it's a 3-year process. Like, so that's just like triggering number one. And I can't even like itemize all of the things in the story that I was getting pissed off about. I will say this. Here is like the real, like, pull the curtain back. Here's what really happened. I want to say it was probably year 2, because for you it really was 3 fucking years. Year 2, Gus made a car. So year 2, when you were like, I let Gus think that he was making the car because I let him be out in the garage while I was working on the car. No, you told him, you make your car and I'll make my car, and then we'll decide race night which car we're going to race. Like, how this was part of the Cub Scouts, like a dad's car and a son's car, and then we'll decide which car.
We tested the cars, took the fastest one.
Okay. So you decided the second year, you weren't even going to pretend like he was helping you. You were just like, I'm too busy building my car for the Pinewood Derby for the 8-year-olds to race. You go over here, this little like play school table, and you build your car. So he did. He built his own car. And he painted his car, and he gave a name to his car, and he was just like, this was my car. I think it was called Ketchup, and it looked like a ketchup bottle or something. And he was so proud of his car. And then day of the race, you were just like, here's my car. And he's like, yeah, Dad, but here's my car. And you were just like, let's see which one is faster and which one we're going to take. And he was, bless his little heart, he was like, let's just take mine.
No, we literally tested these cars 30 seconds before we drove to the race. I'm like, whichever one's faster, we'll take, Gus.
But he didn't even care. He didn't even care about winning. He was just like, I want to take my car. This is my car. It's funny.
I slaved on it.
I slaved on it. I'm proud of how it looks. Like, this is my car. So I don't know what even happened. I just know you guys come back. Oh, and your dad came into town. Like this whole like, my dad did it this way and my grandpa did it this way, and it's a legacy. It's a fucked up thing because your dad actually joined in on the fucking over of our son.
Well, no, listen, yeah. No, none of this can be defended. Like, I can't defend it, but we are district champions.
So your dad rolls into town for the Pinewood Derby. And I'm just like, really? You're here for the Pinewood Derby? And he's just like, he's
like, I never came to any swim meet or any cheerleading thing, but Pinewood Derby, I'll drive 5 hours to see that.
Right. And he's just like, let me see your car, son. And Gus is like, here's my car. And your dad is just like, I didn't say grandson, motherfucker. I said son. And then you're just like, Dad, do you approve of my car? And he's just like you are to Gus. He's just like, well, I wouldn't have chosen that, body type or whatever. So he's criticizing you. Gus is like off in the corner, just ignored. I'm just like, whose Pinewood Derby is it anyways? So you guys go. And you come back like in waves. Gus comes in the house first, and he comes in and the door slams, and I don't realize like he's alone. I think like all three of you have come in. And so I like, because I'm not standing in front of the door, I like shout from a different part of the house. I'm like, oh, how'd it go? Like, how'd it go?
How was the Pinewood Derby?
And then I just hear his little feet like skittering down the hallway, and he's just like, like it was terrible, and he's like crying. And he comes in the house all by himself, like ahead of you guys. He's like so fucking pissed off at you guys. He gets out of the car outside while it's still rolling. He like rolls across the lawn. He runs in the house. He slams the door. He runs to his bedroom. He's crying.
Well, my dad and I were still in the front yard probably smoking cigars.
You were. And then so he comes in crying. And then the two of you, grown-ass fucking men, you guys come in. And I don't even have to say how to go. Like I'm ready for you to come in, and I'm about to say like, why is our son so fucking upset? You know what I mean? And you guys come in, and you're just like, we're champions. Like, and you're like holding the trophy. You're holding what should have been our son's trophy. Like it says like district champ 8-year-old class or something like that. And I'm just like, what the fuck is happening?
It wasn't my greatest moment as a father.
No.
But we'll always be district champions.
So that was year 2. Year 3, because you talked about this whole 3-year process in the story. Year 3, you knew that if you didn't let Gus race his own car, that I would divorce you.
Yes.
That you would be the divorced district champion of the 9-year-old class of Cub Scouts. So finally, year 3, Gus got to race his own car.
And he won.
Yeah, but you can't take that middle year back,
because what happened was I got smart. So Gus built his own car, and then when everyone went to bed, I snuck out in the garage and I made that car very, very fast. It had a secret floorboard with a tungsten weights epoxied inside it, and I used the Italian axles again.
You're insane. You're insane.
Listen, y'all.
So the story pissed me off.
Hit us up here if you want some Pinewood Derby tips. Hit me up at cheers@storiesandcocktails.com, and I'll give you all the information you need about how to win the Pinewood Derby for your son.
And how to be a terrible father.
Yeah. Listen, you're going to be a district champion, but you're going to have to pay a lot of money in therapy for your son. Because my son is Gus is still mad at me to this day.
He should be.
There is some definite fucked up shit where I was a terrible dad in regards to how I handled the Pinewood Derby.
Yeah, no, I can't argue this. Like, I
can't either. I'm a fucking asshole. You know what I'm saying? I let my friends go to jail. I fucked over my son at the Pinewood Derby. But you know what? I'm a champion, baby.
Oh my God.
Yes, obviously it's clear to everyone. There's something clearly wrong with me, and I feel shame about it.
Do you?
No, fuck no. I'm a champion.
I know you don't.
Listen, championships are forever.
Do you even know what shame is?
It's a 5-letter word.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
That's all I got for you. No. All right, let's raise a glass. I'm going to ring this bell as we take a little toast here to district championships and not going to jail. Cheers.
And that was Last Call. You did it. You survived an episode of Stories and Cocktails. But did Rob or Sarah's liver survive the show? I don't know. Tune into the next episode to find out, to enjoy some more stories and some more cocktails. By the way, if you want to support the debauchery of the show, then buy the host their next round by Venmoing a couple of gold doubloons at Stories and Cocktails. Back in the day, a gold doubloon was only $4 Spanish. Who knew? Well, folks, I'll be right here behind the bar, cleaning the glassware and awaiting your return to the Stories and Cocktails podcast. Cheerio, friends.